4. Keywords. Focused age groups, ants. Explanation. In paragraph 3, it is stated that Giraldo focused on ants for age ranges, so the answer must be 4. Paraphrased words. Different age groups, age ranges. Of ants, on ants. Young. Keywords. How well, ants, looked after. Explanation. The first sentence of paragraph 4 states that Giraldo watched how well the ants took care of the young of the colony. Paraphrased words. How well ants, how well the ants. Looked after, took care of. Food. Keywords. Ability, locate, scent trail. Explanation. In the second sentence of paragraph 4, the author mentions how ants followed the telltale scent that the insects usually leave to mark a trail to food. This means that she studied ants' ability to locate food using a scent trail. Paraphrased words. Locate, mark a trail to. Using a scent trail, followed the telltale scent. Light. Keywords. Effect. Explanation. In the same paragraph, we are told that she tested how ants responded to light, meaning that she tested the effect of light on ants. Paraphrased words. The effect responded to. Aggressively. Keywords. Attacked, prey. Explanation. Still in paragraph 4, Giraldo compared the way old and young ants attacked their prey and found that the old ones attacked just as aggressively as the young ones did. In other words, she studied how aggressively they attacked the prey. Paraphrased words. Attacked, prey, the poor fruit fly. Location. Keywords. Comparison, age, dying, cells, brains. Explanation. In paragraph 5, we know that Giraldo didn't find any major difference in age and the location of dying brain cells between 20-day-old and 95-day-old ants. This suggests that she compared between the age and location of dying cells. Paraphrased words. Comparison between, no major difference age of dying cells. Neurons. Keywords. Synaptic, complexes, brain S, mushroom bodies. Explanation. In paragraph 5, it is stated that synaptic complexes are regions where neurons come together. Paraphrased words. In the brains are mushroom bodies, in their brains called mushroom bodies. Areas in which, where, meet, come together. Chemicals. Keywords. To, brain, associated, aging. Explanation. Still in paragraph 5, we are told that Giraldo studied the level of serotonin and dopamine, which are two brain chemicals whose decline often coincides with aging. This implies that they are associated with aging. Thus, the answer is chemicals. Paraphrased words. Level of 2, levels of either serotonin or dopamine brain. Associated with aging, coincides with aging. False. Keywords: fetal dentata remain active whole life. Explanation: in paragraph 2, the author mentions naked mole rats as an age-defying animal. They stay fit for nearly their entire lives, and they can reproduce even when old. It can be said that they remain active for almost their whole life. Thus, fetal dentata ants are not the only animal with this feature. Paraphrased words: remain active doesn't seem to show any signs of aging, stay fit, or almost their whole lives, for nearly their entire lives. True. Keywords: Isabel Giraldo, first, fetal dentata precise, data, age. Explanation: it is stated in paragraph 3, unlike all previous studies, which only estimated how old the ants were, she knew their exact ages. This means that she was the first person to use the ants' exact ages in her studies. Paraphrased words: precise data about the insects' ages, their exact ages. False. Keywords: ants, Giraldo's experiments, behaved, predicted. Explanation: it is stated in paragraph 4 that Giraldo expected the older ants to perform poorly, but the elderly ants were all good caretakers and trail followers. This implies that the elderly ants behaved differently from what she expected, predicted. She thought that they would perform badly, but they performed well. Paraphrased words: behaved, perform. Predicted, expected. Not given. Keywords: recent, studies, bees, different, methods, measuring, age-related decline. Explanation: with regard to recent studies of bees, the author only mentions in paragraph 6 that the results about age-related decline were mixed, some showed it while some didn't. However, there is nothing said about the methods used, so this statement is not given. Paraphrased words: the recent studies of bees, the results of recent bee studies. True. Keywords: fetal dentata laboratory, live longer. Explanation: the first sentence of paragraph 3 reveals that in the lab, fetal dentata ants typically live for around 140 days. Later, in paragraph 7, it is said that, out in the wild, the ants probably don't live for a full 140 days. This clearly means that the ants tend to live longer in laboratory conditions. The statement is therefore true. B. Keywords: quickly, animal, species, die out. Explanation: it is mentioned in paragraph B that some of these collapses have been sudden, dramatic and unexpected, with these collapses referring to the extinction of animals. The word sudden is a synonym for quickly, so the sentence suggests that some animals may become extinct or die out quickly. Paraphrased words: die out are becoming extinct. How quickly? Colossal numbers of species are increasingly threatened. E. Keywords: preferable, study, animals, captivity, wild. Explanation: the term animals in captivity is another way of saying animals in zoos. The role of zoos in animal research is mentioned in paragraph E. Being able to undertake research on animals in zoos where there is less risk and fewer variables means real changes can be effected on wild populations. So, zoos have many advantages for studying how animals live, act and react. Thus, the answer is paragraph E. Paraphrased words. Reasons: less risk, fewer variables. Study animals in captivity, undertake research on animals in zoos. C. Keywords: 2 ways, learning, animals, other than, zoos. Explanation: several ways of learning about animals are mentioned in paragraph C: zoos, television documentaries, and museums. Thus, this paragraph shows 2 ways of learning about animals other than visiting them in zoos. Paraphrased words. 2 ways of learning about animals: television documentaries, natural history specimens. Visiting them in zoos, seeing a living creature. A. Keywords: animals, zoos, healthier, wild. Explanation: the first sentence of the passage is, "It is perfectly possible for many species of animals living in zoos or wildlife parks to have a quality of life as high as, or higher than, in the wild." Higher quality of life implies that zoo animals may be healthier than those in the wild. The author then goes on to discuss various reasons why zoos are healthy places for animals, including a good diet, treatment of illnesses, and a safe environment from predators. Paraphrased words. Reasons: get a varied and high-quality diet with all the supplements required. Any illnesses they might have will be treated. True. Keywords: animal, live, longer, zoo. Explanation: as we know from question 17, the comparison between animals living in zoos and in the wild is in paragraph A. The average captive animal will have a greater life expectancy compared with its wild counterpart. The captive animal refers to animals in zoos. Its wild counterpart refers to animals of the same species in the wild. Paraphrased words. Live longer, have a greater life expectancy. True. Keywords: species, zoos, no longer, found, wild. Explanation: it is stated in paragraph B that a good number of species only exist in captivity, implying that these species cannot be found in the wild. Paraphrased words. Can no longer be found in the wild, only exist in captivity. Some species in zoos, many of these living in zoos. Not given. Keywords: improvements, TV, wildlife, documentaries, increased, numbers, zoo visitors. Explanation: with regard to TV documentaries, the author only mentions, in paragraph C, that television documentaries are becoming ever more detailed and impressive, but there is no relation between this and zoo visitor numbers. This information is not given. false. Keywords: zoos, excelled, information, animals, public. Explanation. Paragraph D states that zoos can communicate information to visitors about the animals they are seeing and their place in the world. In other words, zoos can transmit information about animals to the public. It is mentioned, however, that this was an area where zoos used to be lacking, implying that zoos were not good at this in the past. The statement is therefore false. Paraphrased words: transmitting information about animals to the public, communication and outreach work. Not given. Keywords: studying, animals, zoos, less, stressful, the wild. Explanation. In comparison with studying animals in the wild, studying them in zoos is less risky and involves fewer variables. We only know that there is less risk for both the animals and the scientists themselves, but we do not know if studying animals in zoos is less stressful. There is no information regarding this. Paraphrased words: studying animals in zoos, undertake research on animals in zoos. B and D. Keywords: 2. Stated, zoo staff. Explanation. It is stated in paragraph D that many zoos also work directly to educate conservation workers in other countries. Zoo staff can teach conservation workers or people involved with conservation projects. So D is correct. Or send their animal keepers abroad to contribute their knowledge and skills to those working in zoos and reserves. This means that some animal keepers, a type of zoo staff, travel to overseas to help other zoo staff. So B is correct. Paraphrased words: travel to overseas locations, send their animal keepers abroad. Join teams in zoos, contribute their knowledge and skills to those working in zoos and reserves. Teach, educate. People who are involved with conservation projects, conservation workers. B and E. Keywords: 2. Beliefs, zoos. Explanation. In paragraph B, it is stated that some animals have been reintroduced into the wild from zoos, or that wild populations have been increased by the introduction of captive bred animals. The term reintroduce means that animals will be raised in zoos before being released into the wild. So E is correct. Thus, the sentence can be paraphrased using different words into zoos can increase public awareness of environmental issues. B is correct. Paraphrased words: raise public awareness of environmental issues, you need to be more environmentally conscious. Increase, more. Raise animals, can be bred up to. False. Keywords: Rockman, colleagues, first, research, marine, debris. Explanation. Paragraph 2 mentions that plenty of studies have sounded alarm bells about the state of marine debris, and that Rockman and her colleagues set out to determine how many of those perceived risks are real. This implies that there has been other research on marine debris before Rockman and her colleagues, and they want to examine these previous studies. Thus, the statement is false. Paraphrased words: the problem of marine debris, the state of marine debris. Not given. Keywords: creatures, danger, ocean, trash, seabirds. Explanation. Paragraph 3 only mentions that certain seabirds eat plastic bags, but we do not find any information about them being the most in danger. Scientists have only speculated about wider effects. There wasn't a lot of information. Thus it is not given. False. Keywords: studies, Rockman, reviewed, proved, some birds, extinct. Explanation. Joan Goodman, paragraph 7, suggested that hybrid forms of work and play can provide optimal contexts for learning. This means that such hybrid, or combination, could be the best way for children to learn. Paraphrased words. Combining work with play, this midpoint between play and work. Be the best way for children to learn, create robust opportunities for playful learning. True. Keywords: Rockman, analyzed, papers, danger, ocean trash. Explanation. Paragraph 4 states that Brockman and her colleagues examined more than 100 papers on the impacts of marine debris and found 366 perceived threats. It can be understood that these papers focused on various kinds of danger, threat, caused by ocean trash, marine debris. Paraphrased words. Different kinds of danger, 366 perceived threats. Analyzed, examined. Ocean trash, marine debris. False. Keywords: most, research, analyzed, Rockman, badly, designed. Explanation. In paragraph 5, the author states that, in 83% of cases, the perceived dangers of ocean trash were proven true. So, there is obviously no reason to think that this research was badly designed if the findings were proven true. In the remaining cases, the working group found the studies had weaknesses in design. Therefore, only 17% of the cases analyzed were badly designed. So, most of the cases were well designed. Paraphrased words. Was badly designed, weaknesses in design. Research, studies. True. Keywords: 1. Study, expecting, mussels, harmed, eating, plastic. Explanation. The information about mussels, a type of shellfish, can be found in paragraph 6. The study examined mussels that eat plastic, but it didn't seem to stress out the shellfish. This means that the plastic didn't seem to have any harmful effect on the mussels. Rockman said this study failed to find the effect it was looking for, so clearly it was looking for some effect of the plastic on the mussels. Paraphrased words. One study, only one well-designed study. Was expecting to find, failed to find. Not given. Keywords: some, mussels, choose, eat, plastic, preference, natural, diet. Explanation. Paragraph 7 only states that the mussels may be fine eating trash. It does not mean they prefer trash to their natural diet. Large. Keywords: bits, debris, harmful, animals. Explanation. Rockman found, paragraph 8, that most of the dangers also involved large pieces of debris that can cause severe injuries to animals. So the answer is large. Paraphrased words. Bits of debris, pieces of debris. Harmful to animals, injuring themselves. Microplastic. Keywords: little, research, synthetic fibers. Explanation. Paragraph 9 mentions that Brockman's group found little research on the effects of these tiny bits, with tiny bits referring to microplastic. So the answer is microplastic. Paraphrased words. There was little research into, found little research on. From synthetic fibers, fibers shed by synthetic clothing. Populations. Keywords: most, focused individual, not entire. Explanation. The remaining questions refer to the drawbacks of the studies. According to paragraph 10, many studies have looked at how plastic affects an individual animal, rather than the whole populations. Paraphrased words. Focused on, have looked at. Individual animals, individual animal. Entire, whole. Not, rather than. Concentrations. Keywords: plastic, lab, not, reflect, ocean. Explanation. It is mentioned in paragraph 10 that, in the lab, scientists often use higher concentrations of plastic than what's really in the ocean. This means that the concentrations of plastic used in the lab was different from, and thus did not always correctly reflect, those in the ocean. Paraphrased words. Those in the ocean, what's really in the ocean? Predators. Keywords: impact, reduction, numbers, species. Explanation. Brockman said in paragraph 10 that no one can tell us how deaths in one species could affect that animal's predators. Deaths in one species can be understood as a reduction in numbers of that species. Thus, there is insufficient information on how a reduction in numbers of a species can impact on their predators. The blank should be filled with predators. Paraphrased words. There was insufficient information, none of that tells us. Numbers of animals which could be affected. How many birds or fish or sea turtles could die from plastic pollution? The impact on the effects. Reduction in numbers, deaths in one species. Of that species, that animals. Disasters. Keywords: more, information, needed, impact, future, oil. Explanation. According to Brockman in paragraph 11, we need to ask more ecologically relevant questions, such as how disasters will affect the environment before they actually happen. This means that more information related to disasters is needed. She also mentioned an oil spill as an example of the impact of future disasters, which we need to know more about, by asking the right questions earlier. Hence, the answer is disasters. Paraphrased words. More information is needed, need to be asking more ecologically relevant questions scientists don't know exactly. Involving oil, such as a tanker accidentally spilling its whole cargo of oil. A. Explanation. The passage does not focus on who is to blame for marine debris, nor does it focus on any new solutions or international action, which are only briefly referred to in paragraph 12. In the final paragraph, Rockman refers to the importance of clearing up misconceptions in order to know how serious the threat of marine debris really is. Therefore, it is important to interrogate the existing scientific literature to help ecologists to figure out which problems really need addressing. The entire passage concerns Rockman and her study on other prior research on marine debris. She assessed these studies to answer the question of whether the situation is as bad as they suggested. In other words, Rockman assessed the threat of marine debris mentioned by other researchers. A is the correct answer.